Hey, hi, come on in. You enjoy my little act? I'm sure you did. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the little act we all put on. The act we want people, they don't want us to see what's really going on inside the cup, right? Because it looks a little dirty, because it looks a little defiled, because we're ashamed of it. So we're going to talk about the act, see? Because now whenever I turn my cup in your direction, I want you to see something nice and sweet and clean. All right. So, but let's talk about acting. It's a wonderful mechanism we put on. I love actors. I watch movies constantly. That's how I learned. That's how I developed. Just watching people, their experiences, their life, the ideas of directors, the ideas of writers and of producers, what they thought I should see, you see. And I learned about the act. And you know something, not just me, but you too. And I want you to consider my words because there's a lot of acting going on, and that's wonderful. You know, enjoy the game. But there's something else underneath the surface, and that's what my site's all about. That's what we do here. We make a distinction between the outer life and the inner life. Ah, Nostrovia. So let's or as you say in Sicily or Italy, salute. Let's all go with good health. So, what about the actors? Acting, well, especially good acting. Streep, Pacino, De Niro. I mean, good acting, It's one of the purest embodiments of the outer life because acting rewards transformation of the persona, the character, see, not the person. It elevates the mask, the front, but not the soul. Acting celebrates the performance, ta-da, but not the presence. Acting, ooh, it pays people to become someone else, not themselves. Method acting, yes. That's a whole philosophical dimension, actually. Many books have been written on that. Well, the world that we live in applauds this, you know. Yeah, why? We're entertained, we shower actors with money, with fame, with admiration, with projection, with worship. Oh, yeah. Not because of who they are, but because of who they pretend to be. And here's something a lot of people wouldn't dare to say, but I'm going to say it. Acting is the art of perfecting the outer life. And the world loves it because the world itself is outer life obsessed. Oh, yeah. So as I was doing a little study in this area, I thought, why so many actors come from wounded childhoods? Hmm. This is a deep psychological truth that emerges here. Check it out. You know, people who grow up in chaos, in neglect, or emotional instability, they often learn to read others. They adapt quickly. They shape shift and perform safety. And they become who others need them to be. So acting becomes a natural extension of survival. Survival, man. Yeah. It's not surprising, you know, that many great actors come from difficult beginnings. You know, they learned early in life that being themselves wasn't safe. So they mastered becoming someone else. And the world pays them handsomely for it. Quite. I began to wonder why, you know, ask the question about, you know, why we imitate actors. I do. Always have. In certain ways. In certain ways. You know, your favorite actors. You know. You know, we all borrow gestures, tones, expressions, attitudes from the actors we admire. Hulk Hogan, you know. I mean, you think about it. I mean, think about it. You know, you think about actresses like Marilyn Monroe. I mean, she was copied by millions of people, or Tom Cruise. You know, attitude. He's like attitude stuff. You know, underneath the surface, like, wow, I want to be cool like them. I remember in the old days, people, everybody wanted to be Humphrey Bogart, you know, because well, or Clark Gable, you know, they all had this affinity for that. So we do it. We do it. It's fun. Why? Because it's the outer life out there. It's contagious, man. Because personas are seductive. Yeah. Because we're conditioned to believe that identity is something we perform, not something we inhabit. Hmm? I know you got that, right? We put on our little dance, our little performance, we get this, right? But we don't inhabit, it's not something we inhabit, see? And that's why Christ's message was so disruptive. This man comes into a place that had been well formed in acting, knowing how to act, knowing your place, and acting accordingly. All right. Christ wasn't against acting as an art form, no. He was against acting as a way of life. It makes sense? Right? As a way of life, right? So what did he do? He confronted religious performers, moral performers, spiritual performers. Imagine people who use the outer appearance to hide the inner emptiness. They wasn't attacking their behavior. He was exposing their disconnection from the inner life, is all. And that's exactly what we're doing here, all of us that come here. We're not condemning actors. Some people call it like your strong suit. No, no, we're revealing the spiritual cost. Spiritual meaning the spirit. What is the cost to the spirit of living from the outside in, which is what we do? We live from the outside in. So look around. from the outside in, you know, yeah, we're nurturing on this stuff. And that's wonderful. That's how it's part of, that's part of the system. That's, we've evolved to do that. Nothing to be ashamed of. I'm just here to say that there's another side that maybe is a little overlooked and sometimes even taken for granted. Our life. And this is, you know, being a spiritual life coach for many years, and especially with people who are incarcerated and living really tough lives in very compromising occupations like sex work and places like San Francisco. This is a tough life. This is not an easy life, and they don't live long. And they go into that life for we all share the same reasons. Just it turned out our occupations, our skills, our talents, and maybe what we were given may have something to do with how to survive quickly, easily, without the duress. And but some occupations, man, they got that tail, they got that they got a sting. Uh, they're dangerous. Yeah, to your mind, to your body. I won't go there right now, but I mean, that's this, those are the sort of topics that we cover here. So, so the idea that life, the life I'm talking about here, you know, this is the inner life. Life is not applause. You know, life is not your persona. In a general sense, it is. In the outer sense, it is. A life is not the performance. And boy, are we good at that. And we better be. Because if we're not, we might find ourselves out on the street somewhere. So we learn to behave, we learn to perform, and all as I say, all that's good, all that's great. But life, that core, that spark, that spirit, that breath, life is the inner life, the real life, the true life, and there's a lot there. And boy, if you understand how to touch that, be with yourself in that sense, the felt life, the living presence within. Think about it. Breathe, breathe. You know, chi. You've heard the word chi. You know. Acting, when used as identity, becomes a veil over the soul. So what did Christ do? He didn't come or hurt anybody's feelings, but he tore that veil. I'm tearing that veil again, simply by making the distinction between the outer life and the inner life. So I want you to pause for a second. I want you to, if you're interested in finding out more about the inner life, and believe me, there's a gold mine in there. Man, is there ever. I mean, look what Christ did. He put his hand out and he says, be healed. And boom, somebody gets up. See, we all have the capacity to do that. There are some forces out there, they don't want us to know, so they keep us in the outer life. I'm bringing us into the inner life. Yeah, and the first person that needs healing is who? Not the other guy. It's me, it's you. So, if you want to follow me down that path, this is what you got to do. You got to ask yourself a few questions. And if you can answer those questions, I'll tell you, you'll be on your way. First, I'm sorry, but I've got a lady's questions on you. You ready? If you need to get a drink, if you need to take a sip of your take a sip. Okay, ready? What am I performing? What am I imitating? What am I hiding? What am I afraid to feel? And what would remain if I stopped acting? Okay. These are tough questions, man. Not everybody can answer them. And let me be honest with you, it is taking me my whole life to answer those questions, friends. Do you know why Michelangelo said on his deathbed two things? I'm sorry that I'm leaving at a time when I'm just learning the ABCs of my profession. That's Michelangelo. And oh, gee, I'm sorry I haven't done more for the salvation of my own soul. Poor guy. He goes down. Yeah. so, so anyhow, you get these questions, review them a few times. I'll tell you what, this is the doorway to sovereignty. This is the doorway to Avalon. It's a topic on another page. Check it out. Avalon. Really cool word. And this is the doorway to the inner life. You want to get into that inner life? Yeah, review the questions. Come on, the life journey with me. Believe me, I'm not here to teach anybody because I really don't know what I'm talking about. If I did, I'd keep my big mouth shut. Okay, with that, be happy, don't worry. Be in peace, remain in peace, stay in peace. Keep the peace, baby. Keep the peace.